Hello, hi! It has been like 8 weeks since I've sat in front of a camera and filmed a video and it feels strange. I missed you guys, I missed filming. I'm excited to be here. So in this video, I want to talk about how to rest and recharge productively, because productive rest and unproductive rest are two different things. Productive rest can lead to a new business idea that's perfect for you, popping into your head at just the right time. It can lead to the solution to a problem for something that you're working on at work. Unproductive rest, on the other hand, usually just leads to Netflix binges and eating a whole packet of Woolworths dairy-free chocolate chip cookies, if you're me. So in this video, I'm going to talk through a few things that you can do a little bit differently when it comes to approaching rest. The first thing that you can do a little bit differently is to set undemanding tasks for your rest time. There was research done using a common task that's used to measure creativity, and that is the unusual uses task. Basically, you might be asked to come up with as many creative uses as you can for a mouse mat. You're graded on how unique your responses are and how many unique responses you come up with. Chuck your most unique idea for how to use a mouse mat in the comment section down below. I'd love to see what you guys come up with, because when I was writing this video plan, I was like, I'm not feeling very creative. So in this study that was done at the University of California, focused on the unusual uses task, they split everyone up into 3 separate groups. So they had all of these groups brainstorming as many ideas as they could for unusual uses for example, a mouse mat, for about 10 minutes. After that, they had one group spend 12 minutes doing a really demanding memory-based activity. So for example, like memorizing a bunch of phone numbers. The next group did a kind of undemanding task. So whenever a notification came up on a screen, they'd press a button. The third group sat and they did nothing. After that, they all tried again to think of as many unusual uses as they could for a mouse mat. The group assigned the undemanding task of pressing the button whenever a notification came up improved by 40%, and the other groups didn't improve at all. However, when they carried out the same study but presented the groups with a different unusual uses task after their break, that group didn't improve at all. No one really improved significantly. So after those people had been presented with a problem and then they stopped to do a task that required like a little bit of focus, still kept their brain on, but nothing too intense like a memorization exercise, their brain still worked on that problem in the background. So if you're carrying out some kind of task, maybe you're writing an essay, maybe you're brainstorming for posts, when you take your rest, do something that is undemanding and lets your brain rest on the problem. So do filing, wash the dishes, do the laundry. Basically, you don't want to take your mind off the task completely. So you don't want to stop, watch a Netflix show, then go back. You want to do something that only takes up part of your focus so you can let your mind rest on whatever problem you may be having in the background. So the second thing is to never go to sleep without a request for your subconscious. Sleep is a huge part of rest, and I want to make an entire video on how to sleep better, but that information is for another time. But now we're going to talk about putting a request in to your subconscious before you go to sleep. So Thomas Edison was actually the person to throw the quote in front of me out there, and I mentioned it in my 22 Habits of Successful People video, which I will link down below if you want to give it a watch. A study in the UK separated a group of people into 4. One group saw a problem in the evening, solved it in the evening. One group saw a problem in the morning, solved it in the morning. Another group saw the problem in the morning, solved it in the evening, and another group saw the problem right before they went to bed in the evening and solved it in the morning after sleeping. When it came to easy problems, the people that saw the problems in the morning and solved them in the evening did the best. But when it came to the complex problems, the people that saw the problems in the evening and solved it in the morning after sleeping showed a substantial improvement in their ability to answer the questions. Those problems were of an academic nature, but it indicates that if you chuck a problem your way before you head to sleep, you may be letting your brain do the work while you are asleep. Josh Waitzkin, and I may be pronouncing that wrong, he is a chess prodigy and he has a ritual when it comes to problem solving before bed. So a few hours before he goes to sleep, he will brainstorm about a problem. Then he removes himself from it completely. He goes about his normal nightly things until he's pretty much forgotten about his issue. When he wakes up, he has a notebook right beside his bed so that he can just leap up and write any ideas that he may have had while he was sleeping, while he's still in that sort of really creative state that you get when you first wake up in the morning. You can still access those thoughts from while you were sleeping. Next up is to rest by walking. Next time you're trying to plan your work day or your study day, plan a 30-minute minute to 1 hour walk at some point. Some incredibly well-known and creative people, so people like Charles Darwin, Jane Austen, Virginia Woolf, Steve Jobs, they were all passionate walkers. So they all made a point to walk lengthy periods of time during their workday. According to a Stanford study, your creativity is increased by about 60% while you're walking and for a short period after you walk. And the great news is if you don't live around any really beautiful walking paths, that's okay because you can just get the same benefits by walking on a treadmill. Although I'd say that there are other benefits to being in nature. Next up is taking a really restorative holiday. According to Sabine Sonnentag, who is a work and psychology professor, there are 4 factors that are needed for a properly restorative holiday from work, or even you could say from school. Relaxation, control, mastery experiences, and mental detachment from work. If you don't get those 4 things, then your holidays may not actually leave you very refreshed and may not be very productive for you to take. Firstly, relaxation. So that means not spending all of your time visiting your relatives or getting things done. So that doesn't necessarily mean going on Netflix and slugging it out. It could mean going on lots of walks. It could mean laying under a breezy tree and reading a book. Whatever you know leaves your mind feeling relaxed. Mastery is what it sounds like, so it's mastering something that isn't technically related to your work. So it might mean mastering the basics of Spanish or the basics of guitar. It could also mean going on a yoga or a writing retreat. Next up is detachments. That means turning off your email, turning off your work mobile, and completely detaching from work or school. And lastly is control. So especially if you're in high school where you have really no control over your time or what you're doing, or you work in a role that maybe might be admin focused or very reactive, you don't feel like you have control over what you're doing a lot of the time. Having that complete control while you have your time away is a contributing factor to a proper restorative holiday. Another thing to keep in mind is that a big trip, like my recent holiday, which was a whole 6 weeks, it can be a great thing if you're wanting to immerse yourself in different cultures and really go on a journey, have lots of adventures. But the reality is that your happiness actually peaks after 8 days of a holiday. And it kind of just goes down from there, probably back to normal levels or a little bit above normal. And when you return from work, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for that holiday buzz to kind of fade off, which is why to plan your holidays productively, you would plan shorter bursts of holidays, so maybe like little 10-day holidays here and there throughout the year, as opposed to one big 6-week or 8-week holiday. There are a few resources that I want to recommend to you if you're as interested in this topic as I am. The main one is a book called Rest by Alex Pang. He also did a Calm masterclass if you have access to the Calm app. There's another book called Bored to Brilliant, which I will link to in the description below, that you might find interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram, do all of the things, and I will see you soon.